Bandili, what are you doing here? She asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Bandil's smile remained, though it didn't reach his eyes. I wanted to see my family. I've missed you all. Look, Mboti, I've given my life to God, and I want us to be a family again. Mboti noticed a flicker of something darker in Bandil's eyes, and her heart sank. She knew Bandil too well. His jealousy and manipulative nature had caused so much pain before. She remembered Nir's warm smile and gentle kiss, a stark contrast to the man standing before her. Bandil, this isn't the time for this discussion, she said firmly, keeping her voice calm for Bonolo's sake. You can see the boys, but we need to talk later. Bandil nodded, his expression composed, though Mboti sensed the underlying tension. Of course, I just want to make peace. I'll wait until you're ready to talk. Bonolo tugged at Mboti's hand, his excitement undiminished. Mom, can Dad stay for dinner? Mboti looked at her youngest son, her heart aching. He was only 2 months old when their separation happened. He's too young to understand the pain. We'll see, Bonolo. Why don't you go play for a bit while I talk to your dad? Bonolo nodded and scampered off, leaving Mboti and Bandile alone in the living room. Mboti crossed her arms, her posture defensive. Bandil, you can't just show up unannounced like this, she said, her voice low but firm. Bandil replied smoothly, Milan and Bonolo called me on the phone. I miss them so much. He quickly changed the topic. By the way, I saw you being dropped off. Who was that? A friend? Mboti hesitated, not wanting to reveal too much. Yes, a friend from church. Why do you care? Bandil's eyes narrowed slightly, but he kept his smile. I see. Well, I just wanted to see you and the boys. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I want to make things right. Mboti's heart hardened. We have a lot of history, and it's not all good. You can't expect to walk back into our lives and pretend everything is fine. I'm not pretending, he insisted, his tone earnest. I truly want to make amends. For the sake of the boys, can we at least try? Mboti sighed, feeling the weight of his words. She didn't trust him, but she couldn't outright refuse him in front of their children. We can talk later. For now, let's just have dinner and keep things civil for the boys. Bandil nodded, seemingly satisfied. Thank you. I appreciate it. As they sat down for dinner, Mboti's thoughts were divided. She was worried about her ex-husband's intentions and the impact his return might have on her and the boys. After dinner, Bandile left, promising to come back the next day to talk. Mboti felt unease. She needed to be careful, for her sake and her children's. The next day, Mboti met with Laura, the pastor's wife, as planned. As she sat in the church office, Laura greeted her with a warm smile. Mboti, it's good to see you. How have you been? Mboti managed a small smile. I've been better, Pastor Laura. She sighed deeply, continued. Bandil showed up last night, and it's brought back a lot of memories. Laura's eyes widened in concern. Oh, Mboti, I'm so sorry. Is there anything I can do to help? I'm not sure, Mboti admitted. He says he's changed, that he's found God, but I don't know if I can trust him. Laura reached out and took Mboti's hand. I'll pray for you, and if you need any support, the church is here for you. Thank you, Pastor, Mboti said, feeling a bit of the burden lift. That means a lot to me. Both exchanged a smile. Mboti asked, You wanted to see me? Upon hearing that Bandile was back, Laura hesitated to continue with her intended conversation. Instead, she said, Well, yes, but it's nothing serious. We're planning a humanitarian visit to Peru, and I wanted to know if you could help me with the planning using your organizational skills. I know you're recovering from heart surgery, so I don't want to add any stress. Mboti smiled, appreciating Laura's consideration. I'm honored you thought of me. I'd be happy to help. When do you want me to start? Laura replied, I'll let you know soon. They then exchanged pleasantries. As Mboti got up to leave, the door swung open and Brenda walked in with her usual energy, her high-pitched voice immediately filling the room. Girl, very soon you will be dining with the big shots. Laura blinking, signaling at Brenda to not continue with the intended conversation. Brenda, facing Laura, pretending she didn't notice her signals, and asked, Did you break it down to her? Laura, smiling, nodded in response, thinking it will deviate Brenda from going further with the conversation. Mboti, still lost and surprised by what was happening, looked at them with wide eyes. Brenda shook her head and cued Mboti to sit back down. Nah, there's no way she relayed this joyous news, then broke it down to you and you're in a hurry to go. Mboti, still polite, asked, News? Broke what down? Laura started laughing at Brenda's overjoyed behavior. Brenda pulled out a pen and diary, then turned to Mboti. What will be the theme? Mboti looked even more confused. Theme? For what? Brenda continued as if Mboti hadn't spoken. What color? I know your favorite color is teal, she said, writing it down. And for the bridal shower, I'll… Wait a minute. What? Mboti interjected, utterly confused. Am I missing something? Bridal shower? For who? Brenda shifted her gaze towards Laura. I knew it. You didn't tell her. Laura was still laughing, tears of mirth in her eyes. Brenda returned her gaze towards Mboti, who looked more surprised than ever. Yours, my dear. Mboti shook her head. You're planning my wedding? Brenda nodded enthusiastically as she continued writing. Aha! We have to be prepared, girl. Mr. Harrington is perfect for you, and we need to start planning now. Mboti, feeling overwhelmed. Mr. Harrington? Managed to smile despite her confusion. Brenda, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I'm not sure I'm ready for all of this. Brenda paused, her pen hovering over the page. But Mboti, he's stable and can provide for you and the boys. Shouldn't you be happy? Mboti sighed inwardly. Brenda, Pastor Laura, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I'm still trying to survive Bandili's visit last night. He says he's a changed man and wants to make things right. Brenda's reaction was immediate and fierce. What? That swine had the nerve to show up after all he's done to you? She stood up, her voice rising with anger. I hope you're not thinking of taking him back. Brenda, please, Laura interjected, trying to calm her down. Let's approach this with grace. But Brenda was too incensed to be quieted. Grace? That man doesn't deserve grace. Mboti, you should spit in his face the next time he even mentions coming back. Mboti felt overwhelmed, her heart pounding. Brenda, it's not that simple. He's still the father of my children. I can't just cut him out, and I don't appreciate you calling him names. Please. Laura reached over and placed a calming hand on Brenda's arm. Let's not forget that the Lord's guidance is what Mboti needs right now. We should support her, not add to her stress. Brenda huffed, but finally sat back down, still muttering under her breath. Fine. Laura turned to Mboti, her eyes filled with compassion. We want the best for you. Mr. Harrington might seem like a good match, but if you don't feel it in your heart, then it's not right. As for Bandil, you need to be cautious, listen to your heart and pray for guidance. Mboti nodded, feeling a bit more at ease. Thank you, Pastor Laura. I appreciate your support. Brenda, still simmering, added, and remember, we're here for you, no matter what. Just promise me you won't let that man back into your life. Mboti gave a small smile, appreciating her friend's fierce loyalty despite the harsh words. I promise. I'll be careful. At Mboti's residence, Mboti arrived home. She saw Bandil waiting outside. She took a deep breath and approached him, ready to face whatever lay ahead. Bandil, she said firmly, we need to talk. Bandil nodded, his expression earnest. Sure. They entered the house, and Mboti led Bandil to a private room where they could talk privately. She sat down, folding her hands in her lap, while Bandil took a seat across from her. Mboti, I know things were tough between us, Bandil began, his tone smooth but with an edge. Just like I said before, I've found God, and realized that the devil made me do those things. But let's not pretend you didn't have a part in it. You pushed my buttons. Mboti's eyes narrowed, a mix of anger and disbelief boiling inside her. This is the problem, Bandil. Always looking for who to blame for your actions. You hurt me and the boys. It's not something that can be easily forgotten, although I'd forgiven you. That doesn't give you the right to come in here as you please. She looked into his eyes. Or are you not tired of fighting? You claimed you've changed, but you're still that same person. Your tricks, your manipulative behavior, your condescending attitude, your… She was interrupted by Bandil leaning forward, his voice lowering but dripping with condescension. You think any other man will understand you like I do? Will love you like I do? You can't deny that I was your first Mboti. You can't love another man the way you loved me. He sat backwards, lounged on the sofa. And to answer your question, I'm not here to fight. I'm here to stay. The boys need their father. They need me. Mboti felt a surge of anger. You can't be serious. You destroyed us. You broke me. Love isn't about who was first. It's about respect, trust, and kindness. Things you broke. Bandiel's eyes flashed with anger, though his voice remained deceptively calm. You think you're so perfect? You think any man will put up with your attitude, your constant need for attention? No one will ever love you like I did. You'll see. Mboti stood up, needing to put some distance between them. Bandiel? I'm not looking to replace anything. I want to build a life that's healthy and safe for me and the boys. You can't just come back and expect everything to be like nothing happened. And you can't drag me back to that dark hole you put me through. Bandiel stood up as well, his posture imposing. You can't deny that we were good together, and deep down, you know no one will ever be able to love you the way I did. She shook her head, meeting his gaze without flinching. What we had in the past was toxic, and I'm not ready to go back there again. If you've truly changed, you wouldn't be here imposing yourself on me. Bandiel cuts her off. I'm here for my family and you won't stop me. Mboti, seeing the cruelty on his face, continued. Like I was saying before you cut me off, understand that I need to make decisions that are best for me and our children now. Bandiel's expression twisted with a dark smile. Good luck with that. Just remember, no one knows you like I do. Mboti felt a chill run down her spine at his words. I think it's time for you to go. Bandiel's smile vanished, replaced by a look of cold determination. This isn't over, Mboti. We'll talk again. As Bandiel left, Mboti let out a shaky breath. She knew she needed to stay strong, for herself and her children. She couldn't let Bandiel's manipulative words sway her. 2 months later, Nir was having dinner with his mother, his heart still light from his dates with Mboti. He decided to share his excitement. Mom, there's something I want to tell you. I've been seeing someone. His mother's face lit up with a smile. Oh, Nir, that's wonderful. I'm happy for you as long as it's not the woman your sister told me about. A single mother with 3 or how many sons. You wouldn't want that for your daughter. Nir's excitement dimmed. He already sensed his mother's disapproval of Mboti. His mother continued. So, this lady, when do I get to see her? Nir, losing some of his initial enthusiasm, responded, Well, we're still in the early stages. When the time comes, you'll meet her. Abigail inquired more. What's her name and what does she do? Nir reluctantly replied, Mboti. She's a counselor. Abigail continued, interesting. I hope she doesn't have a busy schedule like you, because you need a woman who can be there for your daughter when you're busy in the hospital. You know, when your father was... She didn't finish her sentence. Nir interrupted, unable to keep pretending everything his mother was saying was okay. I'm sorry, Mom, but why is being in a relationship with a single mother such a problem for you and Yal? Abigail sighed, putting down her fork. Son, it's not that simple. Raising a child alone is difficult enough, and you have Noam to consider. You need someone who can be there for her, not someone who already has so many responsibilities. Nir shook his head, feeling frustrated. Mboti is an amazing woman. She's strong, kind, and she's doing a wonderful job raising her sons. Why can't you see that instead of just focusing on the fact that she has children? His mother looked at him with concern. I just worry about you, son. You've been through so much. I don't want you to take on more than you can handle. Nir took a deep breath, trying to remain calm. I appreciate your concern, Mom, but I can handle it. Mboti and I are just getting to know each other, and I really like her. Please try to understand that. Abigail nodded slowly. I understand, but please, think carefully about what's best for Noam. She deserves stability, not some person's looking for a father figure for her sons. Nir sighed, feeling frustrated. Mom, she has a name. Mboti could be a part of that stability, if you just give her a chance. The rest of dinner was quieter. The earlier excitement dampened. Nir knew convincing his family about Mboti wouldn't be easy, but he was determined to stand by his feelings. Day 5. It was Friday evening. Nir returned home with his daughter Noam, who ran upstairs while he sat in the dining room. His heart was where Mboti was. They hadn't seen each other for 2 months and 5 days because of their different church attendance schedules and Mboti's involvement with Laura, but they had developed a habit of calling each other at the end of the day to catch up. However, in each of their conversations, neither of them had brought up the conflicts they were dealing with. Their discussions were more about work, their kids, what was going on in the news, and church-related topics, such as missionary activities. Mboti had expressed interest in participating in one of the church's missionary activities and encouraged Nir to join if he could. After helping his daughter with her homework, Nir fixed dinner, and they ate together. Noam brushed her teeth in her bathroom, while Nir did the same in his. They prayed together, and Nir tucked Noam into bed, reading her a bedtime story until she fell asleep. Nir went to his room, picked up his cell phone, and called Mboti. On the other end, she was expecting his call. When she picked up, both of them chuckled, excited to hear each other's voice. "I've missed you," Nir confessed. "I've missed you too," Mboti replied warmly. "It's been too long since we've seen each other." Nir's heart swelled at her words. "I agree. I can't wait for Sunday." "Speaking of Sunday," Mboti said hesitantly, "I was wondering if you could sit next to me in the pew." Nir didn't hesitate to agree, jokingly stating, "What took you so long?" Mboti giggled. "I guess I was just waiting for the right moment." Their conversation was interrupted by a small voice in the background. "Mom, I can't sleep." Nir smiled, recognizing the voice. "Let me guess, Bonolo needs his mother?" Mboti giggled again. "He's his mother's boy." Nir agreed with her. "Of course he is." They said goodnight to each other and ended the call. Nir lay in bed, feeling a sense of enthusiasm about their relationship. As he drifted off to sleep, he found himself praying for it to be Sunday already. It was a cold winter Sunday. The early morning service was packed with congregants. Nir arrived very early, browsing through the congregation to see Mboti. Spotting her seated with her boys, he felt a wave of delight. As he walked towards their pew, his attention was drawn to a man moving in the same direction. Bonolo saw the man and screamed, "Dad!" Nir heard the shout and froze. Mboti looked up, seeing Bandele walking towards their pew. She was devastated. Nir, sensing the awkward situation, quietly moved to another pew, hiding from Mboti. Mboti turned, looking around to find Nir, hoping to sit closer to him. She couldn't see him. She texted him, "I'm here. Can't find you." Nir read the message, but didn't respond. When it was time for prayer, Nir used the opportunity to leave his seat and relocated to a different part of the church, where Mboti wouldn't be able to see him at all. Mboti's heart sank further. She felt Bandil's presence next to her and forced a polite smile for the sake of her boys. But inside, she was torn between the disruption Bandil's presence brought and the disappointment of not finding Nir.